You wrote in your article something that I agree with, that during the Black Lives Matter protests here in Dallas that resulted in the loss of 5 police officers, that shooter, that crazed shooter, did say he was doing it in the name of Black Lives Matter, and he was particularly targeting white officers. He was a part of that movement, and he referenced that movement by name. So to me, this indicates maybe a different narrative.
Yes, I mean, if you look at the Dallas shooting that you just mentioned, when the police interviewed the suspect, he did say that he wanted to kill white people and he wanted to kill white police officers, and that he's upset because of Black Lives Matter instigating him. So, Black Lives Matter, I believe, is actually different than this charge of white supremacy. There really is something to the claim that Black Lives Matter is endorsing violence. I mean, people that believe in Black Lives Matter have been rioting, destroying property. There's been an increase in the killings of police. Crime in general has increased in many American cities this year. So they really are supporting the ideology of lawlessness and disorder and anti-police rhetoric, almost to the point that one black police officer in Dallas has now filed a lawsuit against Black Lives Matter for endangering police officers. But of course, they left that out of the report.
Yeah, Sergeant Penny, I had him on my show last week. He's a great American and a great law enforcement officer. You're right, though. This report, we might as well rip it up. But just for kicks, let's talk about some of the things that the report failed to mention, some issues that are actually within the African-American communities here in the United States. So what do they kind of gloss over here?
Families. If you look at the black community, about 72% of kids are born to single mothers. There is no way you can have a stable, functioning society when 72% of kids are born to single mothers. If we want to fix the problems in the black community, such as high crime, low educational achievement, various other issues, you got to put the family back together. So how come this report didn't dive into the issue of what kind of initiatives and policies can be used to get people to get married and get people to have kids while they're married? How can you design tax policies and incentives to do that? How can you work with the church to do this? How can you work with the community organizations to put the family back together? There's really no mention of this whatsoever. They kind of just gloss over it.
No, they wanted to reference lynchings that happened in the 1800s. That was more important to them than mentioning what's going on in communities today. But there's something else that the report talked about. Of course, is police brutality, excessive force. But something that they didn't really want to bring up was that the black murder rate is 8 times higher than the white murder rate. Why are these numbers always glossed over and never brought up as a part of this conversation?
Because I believe if you look carefully at the ideology of these people, they're not really interested in solving the problem per se. They're really interested in blaming whites. That is their angle. And if they look at the actual data from the FBI Uniform Crime Report that says the black murder rate is 8 times higher than the white murder rate, now they have to say, well, maybe there's a problem in black culture, but we can't use that to blame white people as much. So we'll kind of gloss over that and focus on things that whites have done to blacks, even if it was 200 years ago. They don't really care. They just want to have a way to blame whites for this. So that's their agenda and their ideology.